Hello friends, Smita here. This is our second class of Tally Prime. In this class, we will learn about chart of accounts. What do you mean by chart of accounts? How to modify it? How to create the ledgers? How to modify them? How to delete them? All these things we will learn in this chapter, in this session. Apart from this ledger configuration and checking all the reports, different reports like trial balance, balance sheet, we will learn in this session. So let's start with chart of accounts. In the last session, we have created our company. We have created the Royal Garments Company. Royal Garments Private Limited is our company, and after creating the company, the next step is always creation or modification of chart of accounts. In the middle section, you have the gateway of tally, and in there are four groups: masters, transaction, utilities, reports, out of which in this session we will go through this masters group. There are three options: create, alter, sorry, alter and chart of accounts. So chart of accounts, we will learn about this chart of accounts, and then we will create and alter our chart of account. So chart of accounts. What do you mean by chart of accounts? Chart of accounts is master or index of all financial accounts. As we have number of ledgers, when we check our balance sheet or any report, we find list of ledgers with their balances. So chart of accounts is the index of all these financial accounts. So master or index of financial account is known as a chart of account. Otherwise, in other words, we can say it represents the hierarchical view of the organization of accounts groups and ledger account. It gives the hierarchical view of the organization's different groups and ledger accounts. Next part is how to view the chart of accounts. To view the chart of accounts, there are two ways. Either go to gateway of tally, select chart of accounts. See, we are in gateway of tally, and here we have the chart of account. You can use the arrow keys to go up and down. So on this gateway of tally, chart of accounts to be selected and press enter. This is how we can view the chart of accounts. After coming to this screen, either groups, ledgers, we have accounting masters as well as inventory masters. As we have enabled inventory and accounting features of the company, or we can say we are the traders of the goods, and that's why we have enabled both the features in our F11 features. In that, we have enabled account features and inventory features. That's why it is showing both the masters. So out of which today we will learn these two masters, groups and ledger accounting masters. So we are in the groups. These are the different groups: escape, ledgers. These are the different groups and their subledgers. Escape, escape. Now we are in the gateway of tally. This is how we can check the chart of accounts. Another option is, another way available to view the chart of account is type Alt G from your keyboard or press go to button, which is available in center part of the tally. Next, select the chart of accounts and select the type of master that you want to see in chart of accounts, and then press enter. So first Alt G or press go to button. Now type chart of account. I'm typing chart of accounts here, and it will select that chart of accounts and press enter. Again the same screen appears, either group or ledgers. Select the option and enter. This is how we can view the chart of accounts. Now, as we have seen this chart of accounts, there are different groups. These are the different groups available. These are 28 groups. We have these 28 groups. out of which few groups are aligned to the left hand side and some groups are to somewhat right part of the that group. So branch and division is the group, capital account is the group, and reserves is somewhat slightly aligned to the right part, right side of the group. So those are left aligned are main primary groups, and those aligned somewhat right are the subgroups. So branch division is the primary group, capital account is the primary group, reserves and surplus is the subgroup of this capital account. Current asset is a subgroup, main group, primary group, and bank account, cash in hand, deposit, all those are aligned somewhat right, are the subgroup of this main capital, current assets. Escape, escape. So accounts group. Accounts group are the collection of ledgers of same nature. For example, if we have a fixed asset group, chart of accounts, groups, fixed asset. So this is the group, fixed asset. In this, we will save different ledgers. So like computers, plant and machinery, furniture, and many more. So all the fixed assets ledgers can be grouped in this fixed asset group. So account group is a collection of ledgers of same nature. All the fixed assets are grouped together, or the current assets groups together, all the liabilities, current liabilities grouped together. So where they are grouped is known as the accounts group. So we have 28 predefined groups. As we have seen, there are different groups. These are the 28 groups, out of which 15 are main primary groups and 13 are subgroups. So which are the primary groups? The listed, these are the 15 primary groups: branch, division, capital account, loan, suspense account, current liability, current asset, fixed asset, investment, sales account, indirect expenses account, indirect income account, miscellaneous expense account, purchase account, indirect income and direct expense. These are the primary groups in Tally. And subgroups are 13. Those are sundry creditors, stock in hand, duties and taxes, secured loan, deposits, bank OD, bank account, cash in hand, loans and advances, assets. So these are the 28 groups available in chart of accounts. Suppose we want to modify the groups. We cannot create the primary group, but we can create subgroups. We can modify the chart of accounts as per the requirement of our business. See, in this list of groups and subgroup, we don't have the outstanding expense group. So we will create one group in this subgroup. So how to create the subgroup? Go to gateway of Tally, create group. This is the path. So go to gateway of Tally. We'll come to the main screen by using escape key. Now we are in gateway of Tally. Now select the option create. Use your arrow key. Place your cursor on create and press enter. Now what we need to create? Either group or ledger. So let's select the group. Which group we will create? Name of the group will be, here to give the name of the group. Outstanding expenses is the group that we are creating. Press enter. Now it's asking to select under which group it should appear. So to the right hand side, we will find once again 28 groups are listed over here. Some of them are primary, some are subgroups. So our outstanding expense is the liability. It is a current liability. Then we will select current liability from this list. So just use your arrow key to find out the exact right group for this subgroup. So this is current liability. Enter. Next, it asks for 3 questions. Whether this group should behave like a subledger. No, I don't want to behave this group as a subledger. So I'm keeping this as no. Net debit or credit balance for reporting. I don't want these things to be enabled at present. Also, use for calculation for taxes, discount. No, I don't want to use this outstanding expense group for calculation purpose. So keeping all these three questions as no. Next, it asks for whether to use this, whether to allocate this in purchase invoice or not, method to allocate when used in purchase invoice. So at present, I am keeping this also as a not applicable. In the upcoming classes, we will enable these things and we'll see the example based on these things. But for the time being, I'm keeping all the questions as no and method to allocate it in purchase invoice as not applicable. Then press enter and accept yes for acceptance. This is how we have created one subgroup known as outstanding expense. Next, we will create another subgroup as a prepaid expenses. So, how to create? Go to gateway of tally, create group prepaid expenses. Now, as we are creating group, prepaid expense group, it is always our lab asset. So I will select current asset as our main group, keeping all the questions no, enter, enter. This is how we can modify the chart of accounts. So we have created subgroups. We have created two subgroups, outstanding expense and prepaid expenses. Now, the next part is ledgers. After creating all the groups, after altering the groups, now next part comes as a ledger. Ledger are the actual account heads, which are very important from transaction purpose. A ledger is an actual account head to which you can identify a transaction and must be used in all accounting vouchers. Without this ledger, we cannot pass the transaction. So we must create ledgers before entering the transaction. Well, Tally has given two predefined ledgers. Those are cash and profit and loss account. Let's go to Tally. Go to gateway of Tally as we need to check whether we have these two ledgers or not. So first go to alter, enter. What we need to see? Ledgers, enter, see. There are two ledgers, cash and profit and loss. Just press enter. So this is a cash ledger and this is profit and loss ledger. Escape, 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 escape. So ledgers are the actual account heads. Tally provides two predefined ledgers, cash account and profit and loss account. Apart from this, we need to create all the ledgers. To create ledger, we have option whether you want to create a single ledger or multiple ledger. First, we will create one by one single ledger and then multiple ledgers we will create. So for creating single ledger, the path is go to gateway of tally, select create, select ledger, enter. This is one way. We'll follow first way. Go to gateway of tally, create, enter, ledger, enter. So this is our ledger creation screen. On left hand corner, we will find this is ledger creation screen. Now you have to give the name of the ledger under which group it should get grouped, that you have to select. You have to provide mailing details, banking details, tax registration details, and then opening balances. So let's start creating the ledgers. We will create few ledgers with their opening balances. The first ledger is my ledger name is Ravi's Capital Account. Enter. Now it asks under which group it should go. So as it is a capital account, we have capital account as a group. I'm selecting this, enter. It asks for mailing details. Here we can put the data of name of the that partner, his address, from which state he or she belongs, country, pin code, his banking details, his registration PAN number, everything we can provide. Lastly, it asks for opening balance. So here we need to provide opening balance. So Ravi's capital account had 10 lakh as opening balance. Press enter. Then it asks whether it is a credit balance or debit balance. As it is a capital ledger, it has credit balance. See, here credit or debit, it will comes automatically depending on the type of group that we have selected. If our group selection is correct, the this credit or debit balance will automatically comes properly. So as we have selected this ledger comes under capital group, capital account, capital account has always a credit balance. Enter, enter, accept. Next ledger is machinery account. Machinery, enter. Machinery is our asset. Asset, which type of asset, whether it's a current asset, fixed asset. So it is a fixed asset. So I will select fixed asset from the list as a group. Then at present keeping this question as a method of appropriation in purchase invoice as not applicable. We will discuss on this in later classes. Mailing details are not required, banking details not required, tax registration detail is not required. We need to input the balance of this machinery account. Suppose we have 4,50,000 as a opening balance for machinery. Machinery is a asset and all assets have debit balance. See, as we have selected as a fixed asset group, it has automatically selected debit balance. Enter. This is how we can create different ledgers. Escape. How we have created to the gateway of Tally, create and then selected ledger, enter and enter the details. Escape. Another option for creating the ledger is press Alt G from your keyboard or press Go to button. Create masters, ledgers, enter. So go to button. Create masters is on the top part. Create master, enter, ledger, and here is the ledger creation screen. Enter the details and press yes from your keyboard. This is how we can create single ledger. Now, next is how to create multiple ledgers. Creating multiple ledgers. Creating a single ledger uh, can be a time consuming. But if you want to create multiple ledgers at a time, the option is the way available is go to gateway of Tally, chart of accounts ledger or Alt G, chart of accounts ledger, and then you have to press Alt H for multi creation. So let's start creating multiple ledgers. Gateway of Tally, chart of accounts, create ledgers, chart of accounts, ledgers, and see. Here to the right hand side we have Alt H. H with single underline with it's a combination of Alt and H. Alt H. I'm pressing this, or you can press Alt H from your keyboard. Multi masters, and then in that we need to create multiple ledgers. So we will select multi create. If you want to alter, you can select multi alter. But for the time being, I'm selecting multi create. Enter. Next, it shows the screen in this way. First of all, it asks for under which group we will create the ledgers. So for here we will create different ledgers under different groups. So I'm selecting all the items. Otherwise, you can press spacebar to select particular group. All the ledgers will get created under that particular group. So at present, I'm not selecting a specific group. I'm selecting all items. Enter. Next. Here we will create multiple ledgers. First ledger is computer. and peripherals. Enter. Then it asks for whether which group this ledger will go under. So computer and peripherals are our fixed asset. Enter. And opening balance is 3,20,000. Enter. Again, as we have selected fixed asset, it has debit balance. Next, land and building. This is again fixed asset, and we have 5 lakh as the opening balance for land and building. Then investment in IDPI. Suppose we have FDs in IDPI. So investment comes under, we have investment as a group, and we have 3,50,000 as investment. Then loan from ICICI Bank. Suppose we have taken loan from ICICI Bank. So it is whether it is bank account, OD bank, what type of group to be selected. Suppose as we have to select, we have taken loan from ICICI Bank. It is always loan liability. We have taken the loan. Either you can select this one, or you can have the secured loan. This is the secured or unsecured. These are the subgroups of loans liability. So as we have the ledger name as a loan from ICICI Bank, it is always a secured loan, and we have taken a loan of 4,80,000. And as it is a liability part, it gives credit balance. Then outstanding salary. Outstanding salary. This is ledger, as we have already created outstanding expense as a sub ledger, outstanding expense ender. So all the outstanding expenses will get clubbed in outstanding expenses. So outstanding salary is one of the outstanding expense, and it has 35,000 as outstanding expense, credit balance. Prepaid rent. Suppose we have already prepaid our rent. So we have already created the subgroup prepaid expenses. We have paid 50,000 as a rent previously. Enter. Then loan from director. This is unsecured loan. Enter. Unsecured loan. And 3,80,000 is unsecured loan. Enter. Enter. So here, this is how we can create multiple ledgers under different type of groups. Just keep the blank so that it will ask whether you want to accept it or not. So I'm pressing Y from my keyboard. Escape, escape. So again, we are on gateway of tabbing. So this is how we can create single ledger, or we can create multiple ledgers. Next part is ledger configuration. As we have created ledgers, suppose we are in create ledger. This is the screen where it asks different questions: name of the ledger, under which group it will go, mailing details, banking details, and opening balances. Apart from this, if you want to give extra information regarding the ledger, in that case we need to configure the ledger. Configuration of the ledger is used to organize the information and level of details as per the requirement. So, whatever you need, you can alter the configuration. Ledger configuration can be done by pressing F12 from the keyboard, and then make changes. Whatever the questions you want, enable them, disable them, and then press Ctrl A for save all. So let's start configuration for the ledger. We are in the ledger creation, or come either open the create or alter part of the ledger. Create ledger. So we are in ledger creation, and from this, at this screen we have to press F12 for configuration. So press F12 from keyboard, or press F12, which is the button available on the right part. So these are the different questions. If you enable them, such those type of questions will get appear while creating the ledgers. So whether you want to provide allies for the name, as we just entered the name, if you want to provide allies for the name, press yes. Provide language allies for the name, yes. Provide description for the ledger. If you want to provide any description, press yes. If you want to provide notes for the ledger, yes. So these are the four questions I'm enabling. Rest of the things, keep it as it is. So either enter, press enter, or press Control A to accept the same changes. See, so now few questions arrive. It asks for the name of the ledger and allies. Suppose I am creating one more ledger as a Axis Bank. This is my ledger, Axis Bank. It asks for allies. If you want to give another name for this ledger, you can just type the name. I'm just keeping it blank. Enter. Then it asks for language allies. If you want to give another name, suppose I want to type in Hindi also, or Punjabi, Telugu, Malayalam, you can select the type of language, enter, and just type the name of in that the name of that particular ledger in that particular language. So I'm keeping it as an end of list. Enter. If you want to give some description for this ledger, just type it there. If you want to put any note, type over there. So these are the questions enabled through configuration, and accordingly those appears on your screen. To change this configuration, suppose I don't want all these questions, again press F12, and I'm keeping all these four questions no. I don't want to provide allies, I don't want language allies, I don't want description, I don't want notes for the ledgers, and press Control E. Axis Banks is our bank ledger, bank account. Enter. It asks for extra questions, where is what is the bank holders account holders name, account number, IFSC code, everything you can enter over here. And most important is the opening balance of the bank in the bank. So I have 1,50,000 as a opening balance in bank. So ledger configuration is used to organize the information and level of details as per requirement. And how to configure the same, press F12 from your keyboard, make changes, make us enable or disable the questions, and press Control A for saving the whatever the changes you have made. Next, ledger alteration or deletion. After creating the ledger, if you want to make some changes, or if you want to delete, or whatever changes you need to make, alter the ledger, you have to go to gateway of tally, alter ledger. Suppose as just now we have created Axis Bank ledger, but we have not given details of account number and other details. So suppose I want to provide all those details. In that case, what I will do, I will go to alter, enter, ledger, and select the name of the ledger. These are the ledgers that we have already created. So from this, I want to alter Axis Bank ledger. Again, the same screen appears, but this is ledger alteration screen. Enter, enter. Account number. Suppose my bank account number is this. IFSC code, whatever available. Swift code, bank name, everything you can input the data. Even if the opening balance is wrong, you can change the opening balance. But at present, I'm keeping it as it is. Enter, enter. This is how we can alter the ledger. Suppose I don't want this ledger is wrongly created. Suppose land and middling is wrongly created. You can delete the ledger. To delete the ledger, first of all, you need to open the alteration screen of the ledger and then press Alt D and press yes. This is how we can delete the ledger. Alt G, no, Alt D from ledger alteration screen. Well, so gateway of tally, alter, ledgers. These are the different ledgers those we have created. The next part is after creating different ledgers, we need to check the reports. Report checking is an important task. First of all, we will check the trial balance. What is trial balance? Trial balance is the summary of all the ledger balances. Whichever ledgers we have, it gives the list of ledgers with their debit or credit balance. This is known as a trial balance. And how to check this trial balance report? Go to Gateway of Tally, display more reports, trial balance. So we are in Gateway of Tally. In reports part, go to display more reports. Here, press enter. It will go to next screen. See where we are in Gateway of Tally, display more reports, and in that we have trial balance. Press enter. So this is the trial balance. We have capital account group, we have loans and liability, current liability. These are the different groups. But these groups, it is showing the group balance. If you want the details, each and every ledger balance, if you want, then if you have to press Alt F1 from your keyboard. See, I pressed Alt F1 for detail information. Capital account has ledger service capital account. Then loans and liability is the group. Total balance of that group is 42 lakh 80,000, out of which secured loan is 4 lakh 80,000. If you press enter, it will show which ledger it has. It has loan from ICICI Bank. Once again, come back one step back by pressing escape key. Unsecured loan, which ledgers are there? Enter. We have loan from director. Again, press escape to come back. Current liability, we have outstanding expense as a subgroup. Enter. Outstanding salary is the amount. And then fixed asset, total assets are of 7,70,000, out of which computer and peripherals has this amount ledger balance. Machinery has this balance. So this is what we have the trial balance, having debit and credit balances. So trial balance is the summary of all the ledger balances. Gateway of tally, display more reports, trial balance is the path to check trial balance. Or you can go directly go through go to part trial balance. We'll go through this also. Press go to and just type trial balance. Enter. And for detail purpose, function key F1, Alt F1, give you details. Here also you can configure the trial balance report. How you want, whether you want opening balance or not, transactions, everything, just enable, disable the things and press Ctrl A from your keyboard and you can modify the report. Next, checking reports of balance sheet. Now the next part is checking the balance sheet. What is balance sheet? Balance sheet is the financial statement at a specific time. How to check the balance sheet? Go to Gateway of Tally, balance sheet, or Alt G, go to button and balance sheet. Okay. So we are in Gateway of Tally. Here is the report part. Here is the balance sheet in report parts. Enter. This is our balance sheet. It is in T form. T form means we have liabilities to the left hand side. We have all the assets grouped to the right hand side. So to have detailed about this balance sheet, Alt F1. It will give detailed view of your balance sheet. Well, this is the T form of balance sheet. If you want to change the view of your balance sheet, you can have the either vertical or horizontal balance sheet. For this, you have to press Ctrl H at this report. So we have opened this balance sheet, and here we have control H, change view, enter. At present we are in the T form, or we can say it is a horizontal balance sheet. Now we can see it in vertical form, standing form. So sources of funds and application of funds with all the balances. Again, if you want to change the look or change the view, press Ctrl H from your keyboard, or just press this button which is on the right hand side of the screen. Ctrl H, change view to the horizontal part. So this again in the horizontal view, or we can say T form of the balance sheet. So this is how we have created or altered the chart of accounts. Chart of accounts can be viewed or can be created, can be changed. We can create the ledgers, we can alter the ledgers, and after putting all the ledgers and their opening balances, we used to check the reports, trial balance and balance sheet. So this is how chart of accounts is important part of any company. After creating a company, the first part is it is very important to go through chart of accounts, create different ledgers, their opening balances, select proper grouping for that particular ledger so that balances will be on the correct side, either debit or credit. Thank you.